Okay, so I guess it's time to answer where I've been for the past couple of weeks and what's been going on. Of course, the last video was an announcement video concerning what was going on in my life. Of course, recently my grandmother passed away on my birthday last month, and it it was complicated to say the least. A lot of stuff spun off because of that situation. And I definitely wasn't able to do any videos, or much less I wasn't even able to pick up and play any video games at all because of how I was feeling, what was going on. Man, a lot, just a lot, but I'm back. And the situation and certain things have definitely changed. Now, technically right now, me and my sister are in a little bit better of a situation. We still don't have a place of our own, but we are staying with some family friends that I got into contact with a week or so ago, and they heard about the situation and what was going on, and like family, they just let us in. Like, it's a friend that I used to go to church with back in the day, and he just went ahead and said, you know what, can't have you living in a car, driving. Like, I've been all up and down, all over the place. I can make some story time videos about me and that car and how many miles we've covered in the past 3 weeks. But that'll be for a later date. I'm gonna save that. But he heard about the situation. I called him, and he went ahead. Him and his mother opened their homes to me and my sister. My sister's staying with his mom. I'm staying with him in his place. So my sister is safe. She's not having to sleep in a car or anything like that. We both have a place till we can get stable enough to find an apartment and to do our own thing. So for right now, we do have a place to call our own, and we have people that genuinely care about us, helping us out right now. So that's great. It's just it's a sliver of light in a very bad situation that went on. So what did go on? Again, my grandmother passed away. My mother, she was over there helping us with our mother. Like, I would come over there. My grandmother, she was basically living over at my mom's place, and my sister was over there helping as well. Of course, my mother had gastral bypass surgery way back in the day, like in the late 90s, like back when it was extremely experimental, and she's had health complications from botched surgeries from that ever since. Like, she didn't have, I don't even think she had but like half a spleen. She didn't have that much intestine. She had like a makeshift stomach, a whole bunch of stuff that was wrong with her. And on top of that, as time went on, she developed mental issues. And it's my hunch that it was because of all the high powered medication that they were giving her to ease the pain, because doctors kept saying year after year after year that she was going to die, and that was just going to be, the end of it. And they kept giving her like high powered medication to ease the pain, for her to go on out of here. She made it for a long time. Like, I feel like 15 or so years after the surgery, more than 15 years actually. She made it well beyond her expected date. And my grandmother was over there helping us, dealing with stress. All of us were dealing with stress because, again, she developed mental issues like bipolar and schizophrenia. And of course, when you're dealing with those kind of people, especially loved ones that you can't really backlash against or vent your emotions against, it's a really complicated thing to deal with. Like, you're suppressing anger, you're suppressing stress, you're like 24/7 dealing with your mother, and my grandmother dealing with her daughter. So my grandmother was 76 when she passed away, and again, we believed it to be some form of a heart attack that took her out, but it was ultimately stress from dealing with a patient with bipolar and schizophrenia who was for lack of better terminology, strung out on medication, because that was like one of the main things that my grandmother would have to argue over with my mother was like, hey, I can't give you all this medication because you will have an overdose. And my mom is sitting up there like, I need my medication. I need my this. I need my that. And would just sit up there and whine like a child till she got it. And my grandmother would have to be in a complicated position because of it. And like she would have to tell her no a million times in a day. No, you're not getting this. No, you're not getting that. That stressed her out, among other situations that were going on. And it stressed everyone in the house out. So one night, my grandma just left us that quickly. So as time went on after that situation went down, one of her sisters, my great auntie, came out, or my grand auntie, or however that works. She came down from California to help us deal with the situation, because of course my mother was mentally incompetent to deal with anything. Like, the woman hadn't paid her own bills in years. My grandmother and myself were running that ship over there, making sure money got where it needed to be, covering bills and this and that. So my mother was just completely mentally incompetent to handle the situation, and she had gotten so depleted that she couldn't even walk anymore. Like, this woman, like I said, had gastro bypass surgery, and the complications from that is that she couldn't really eat. Like, she would eat and it would come back up. Like, she would eat a bite of something. Like, my grandmother is a great cook, and she would make her big meals, like like anything that she would want, like a whole plate of eggs and bacon and this, that, and other, like it's an IHOP. Or it would be like a mini Thanksgiving, and she'd make chicken and dressing and whatever that she thought that my mother could eat. And my mom would take one bite of it, come back up, and she would not be able to, finish that plate. And that would make my grandmother feel defeated that she would do that for her daughter, and she just couldn't enjoy it the way that she knows she should. So my mother was really skinny. This last time that she went into the hospital, she was 59 pounds. And it was because of, situations stemming from that surgery. So what happened with my grandmother is that after she passed away, after her sister came down to help us set up the funeral arrangements, she helped me, she helped my sister, and we went down to the funeral home and set up everything. My mother went mental. Like, she was already mental, but she just went off the walls. She like canceled the arrangements, saying that, oh, well, no, that's not going to happen. And she did some questionable things like, oh, I'm going to have her cremated. And a lot of people, they have their feelings about burial and cremation. My grandmother was trying to be nice to us in the recent years and say, you know what, if anything ever happened to me, cremate me so that some money would be left behind, because she had life insurance. And we didn't want to do that because we knew her intentions behind it, and we knew how we were raised, and we knew that, no, there's not supposed to be cremation. You're supposed to be buried. That's why you have life insurance. So my mother was going to cremate her, but not only do that, but do some crazy stuff that she saw on TV and have jewelry made out of the ashes. Like, I don't know where the hell she saw that. I think she said, someone said that she heard it from the Kardashians or something. I don't know. And I don't care, because I did not want that happening to my grandmother's remains. But my grandmother, because of her daughter, got left out 3 weeks after she died, like in the freezer. So by the time that my mother had finally decided to let a viewing happen before the cremation, my grandmother didn't even look like herself, which I came back from where we were, which again, that's going to be a different video, because I've like I said, we've been all over the place. She didn't look like herself, and it infuriated me. It made me mad all over again to see my grandmother and know that she was a beautiful woman and know how she was supposed to look, and to see what became of her because her daughter left her out, that just made me mad all over again. So the reason that we weren't with my mother is because she got to the point where she was, like I said, off her rocker. She was so obsessed with some people being over at her mother's house, because again, my grandmother, she technically didn't live with us. She had her own apartment at some like elderly retirement home type deal. And my mother was so obsessed with possessions and worrying about certain family members not being in her home and this, that, and other. And she got to the point where she was calling the cops on the auntie that did come down to help us set up the funeral arrangements. And that auntie is a no nonsense type of person. Like, she was not going to be dealing with stress the same kind that took out her sister. She was not going to deal with that BS. So she left, and we left with her. We went up somewhere like in a whole brand new state. And it was just like, that's our new life now. That's what we're going to have to do. We're just like, we're done with this situation, because my auntie wasn't going to see us get put in the same saddle as my grandmother. You know, like, you guys, you've already done everything that you could do to keep her out of a home or keep her out of a facility. You guys have got lives to live. That was the kind of mentality that my aunt was putting down, and it was true. I wasn't going to see my sister get stressed out from trying to, take care of her mother. I wasn't going to get stressed out from trying to take care of my mother, even though I do. Like, the relationship there is complicated. Like, I love the good memories of my mother, but I was not satisfied with anything that she did in this situation. So we left, and we left for about 3 weeks, and she was doing her thing, and she ended up in the hospital while we were gone. And while we were gone, somebody declared power of attorney over my mother. And this person in our family is known as being really grifty, really slimy. And what they do is that they wait till somebody in the family gets like really ill to where it doesn't look too good. And what they do is that they come in and they like, oh, let me take care of you, poor baby. Da, 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 da. When she feels, oh, excuse me, it's a call. So what they're known for doing, again, and excuse me for taking that call, but what they're known for doing is coming in on a situation and basically being vultures. Like, they come in under the guise of, oh, I'm going to take care of you. Oh, I'm going to see about you. And they get power of attorney, and then they go into the person's house and get all their possessions and get whatever money that they have and this, that, and other. So that's what was happening in the time that we were gone. So we came back because the rent was way too high. Like even if we had gotten jobs down at the place that we were supposedly gonna start our new lives, it just wouldn't have been a good situation. Like, apartments down there cost more than houses do where we were, originally living. So we came back down to the state where we were living at and trying to figure out different stuff. Like, hey, I was going to end up trying to go work at some warehouse, because what I used to do wasn't going to support me and my sister. It was supporting me, but it wasn't going to support the both of us. So I was job hunting. My sister was going to start job hunting to try to get whatever little dinky job she could get in the situation. But we went to the viewing. My grandmother didn't even look right. And the irony behind it all is that the afternoon of that viewing is when my mother passed away. So, like, she passed away, I think it would be last Friday. And I don't know how to feel about it. I really don't. And it's just like, I remember the good memories of my mother, and before she had like become corrupted by her sickness mentally and, how she used to be. But what she did to my grandmother was unforgivable. Like, the relationship between me and my grandmother is like, grandma was my everything. Like, I saw the sacrifices that this woman made, and I knew that she was like the most devoted mother that someone could ever hope for, to go through the different things that she had to go through. And I used to tell my grandmother that, one day I'm going to send you away on a trip. You're going to be able to go and hang out with your sisters. You're going to be able to go traveling, and me and you are going to just get out on the road. We'll find somebody that can watch mom for a couple of days, and we're just going to get out and do our own thing. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen, but my grandmother just appreciated the notion that I would try to, do something for her like that. I remember all the times that, like, my grandmother was so busy with her daughter that she didn't even think about her own birthday. And I used to go out, I'd walk miles. Like, this is back when I didn't even have a car. I used to walk miles to go get her a birthday cake from Walmart. Whatever it cost, I just got out on the road. I have to walk like almost like 5 or 6 miles. And that's to the store and back. So it was really like 10 miles to get my grandmother a birthday cake, just so that she didn't feel like she didn't get anything for her birthday, And I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss that. Like, the way that I feel about it all is that my mother deprived me of the most valuable thing in my life, which was my grandmother. And I made my grandmother promises. I said, she made me promise that, oh, well, you're going to have to take care of your sister if anything happens to me. Fine, no problem. I was going to do that anyway. And she made me promise that I would try to take care of my mother. I couldn't do that. I couldn't. Like, the combination of my mother angering me so much with how she handled that situation, and the fact that I didn't want to see my sister be overstressed. I didn't want to get overstressed. I couldn't do that part. And she understood as years went on, and as she saw the mental aspects of my mother change, she knew that that wasn't anything that she should have left on somebody. The only thing that my grandmother did wrong, which is really because she was too busy to have it handled, was how she handled the insurance. Like, everyone that's, known about this situation said, why was your mother the beneficiary of her life insurance? It's because my grandmother didn't have time to go switch, and do all this different stuff because she was so busy taking care of my mom. But if there's anything that I've learned out of this whole situation, it's like, handle your business, make time to handle important business like that. And I've learned that it's true. Nice people finish last. My grandmother was the nicest person that you could ever meet. She was the most devoted mother that I've ever known. I consider her my mother out of all this because she basically helped raise me, and she didn't have to, father was there. Mother was there, but grandmother was going to have a hand in raising her grandbabies too. So it's just really been a whole ordeal. And the way that I feel about it is that it's time for me to come back. I'm going to grieve for a long, long, long time. It's definitely going to be months, years. I don't know how long. I'm always going to miss my grandmother. It's nothing to that. And I'm always going to feel some kind of way about my mother. I'm going to miss the good memories, but I'm going to always remember that she caused this. That's just the way that it is. So I'm coming back. I don't know to how much. Like, I definitely don't think I'm gonna have time to do a daily video. I'll try to in what I'm dealing with right now, because now I'm having to clear out not one house but two houses. I'm having to clear out my mom's house. I'm having to clear out my grandmother's place, and I only got so much time to do it. So I'm gonna try to have some videos up for you guys in the coming weeks, because this is the thing that made me happy. Gaming made me happy. Anime made me happy. Doing YouTube makes me happy. And if it's anything that I need to do to cope in this situation, it's to do what I love doing. Like, I've been, for lack of better words, punishing myself because I still feel like I failed my grandmother somehow. You know, like that whole situation, I felt like I had her life in my hands and I failed her, and I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that. So um that's the update, guys. I just gotta deal with things one step at a time. I'm gonna have to reflect, but that doesn't mean that I have to leave the things that I love doing, which is this. So I'm gonna be back. I'm coming back. Maybe a new video will be up sometime later this week. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be doing a daily schedule. Maybe it will be like 3 videos a week to start off, and then I'll see what I go from there. Then, of course, my friend is helping me look for some jobs to go ahead and start getting some income, because I can't go back to what I used to do. Like, I quit that job so I can get my sister up out of here. Now we're back again. So it's just a lot of stuff going on right now, guys, and just understand that that's what's going on. It's not, I didn't abandon you guys. I just needed a lot of time to myself, and things were going on. And now I just really did get back settled into a situation where I can create some content for you guys. So, of course, I've been your perfect being, perfection, the Super Itachi here, and I'm back.